joined today by Erin Blanchfield coming off the big victory, the knockout victory at Invicta FC 39. Thanks so much for joining me. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. And let's talk about this fight a little bit. Obviously, you get the knockout. The talk going in is, you're the jiu-jitsu fighter and everything. Was this something that you knew was going to happen heading into it, that you were going to hunt for the finish on the feet?
Well, I definitely felt confident I can get a finish on the feet if I needed to. I was ready for the fight wherever it went. But I knew that she had problems with lefties, so I was definitely working lefty a lot because I knew that that would open up, like the head kick that did. But yeah, I was ready for anything.
And you mentioned the head kick and everything. Is this specifically that you and your team were training with in camp?
Yeah, I haven't shown that much of my striking, and I knew how good my kicks were, so I was definitely working that kick a lot in camp.
And you mentioned not showing a lot of your striking. Do you think that's an advantage at this point? Because, people are coming in, they think of you as a jiu-jitsu fighter, and then you can sort of surprise them.
Yes, definitely, especially into this fight because I hadn't fought for a while and I like I said, I haven't shown a lot of my striking in my other fights. So it was definitely an advantage. I mean, now maybe not much because now I was able to show some of it off.
Right.
But it was definitely an advantage leading into this fight.
And you mentioned not having fought in a while. Well, what's been kind of keeping you out of the cage and stopping you from coming back out there?
Well, I had an injury I was dealing with and some health issues. But now I'm good. I'm 100%, so I'm ready to stay busy this year.
And how was recovery for everything? I mean, were you still able to train in some capacity?
Uh, Not too for like 2-3 months. I wasn't really able to train. I was doing a lot of rehab, and I had to get like a little procedure done. But after that, I got back to training, got back in shape, and I was ready to go.
So what does that do for you mentally, the time off? Because I assume as a fighter, you always want to get back out there. You always want to get in the gym. What's going on mentally as you're going through that sort of that tough time?
Yeah, it definitely. I never had an injury that kept me out of anything for that long. So it definitely wasn't fun. It was kind of depressing. But I just tried to keep. I went to practices to watch, and I did everything I could outside of actual training. I knew once I was better, I was able to get back at it. So I just had to remind myself that every day, and just like, practice mentally, watch fights, watch tapes, stay mentally there. Yeah, so once I was physically able to do it again, I'd be right back where I was.
And you mentioned that you guys noticed that she had troubles with lefties and things like that. At what point in your camp did you sort of find this kind of hole, this thing that you could exploit coming in with the kick and everything? I mean, was it you that figured it out? Who kind of figured that out, that opening?
My Muay Thai coach, he's been wanting me to lefty just to be more dynamic in my striking. And then once we got her name and he had signed the contract, we were watching her tapes, and he noticed that she has a hard time with lefties. Her distance gets really thrown off. So we were working a lot of that in pad work and it off.
And so what did this do for your career? I assume when you log back into, you turn your phone back on, you go back into social media and everything. What does everything look like for you?
I definitely got a lot of hype off of it. Like Invicta loved it, and ESPN MMA reposted, and UFC Fight Pass. So it's definitely a step in the right direction. And I'm ready to take on the next challenge. I feel like I definitely showed off. I've improved tremendously. Yeah, and I'm ready to get back in there.
And did you see a boost on your social media numbers? And then did you feel like you made more fans because of everything?
Yeah, I got a boost. It wasn't like crazy boost, but it was a
Yeah,
good boost. Yeah, and I feel like I'll definitely have more fans, especially if I keep performing this way. This is only one fight, so I need to
right.
keep performing this way.
And so, what's your goal for you continuing 2020? We know fighters at your level, they have goals of maybe the Contender Series, fighting for a title with Invicta. What's sort of your goal for this year?
Honestly, any of those things. I just want to keep on putting on impressive wins, and I know that those opportunities will come with those wins. So whatever comes my way, I'm ready for.
And I want to talk a little bit about how your career started, because I believe you're still young in this game. I think you turned pro 2018, right? I mean, how did you get into MMA? How did you first get started?
Oh, well, I've been training since I was 7 years old. I started like no-gi, jitsu, and kickboxing. And I started competing when I was around like 8. And I started competing like in small grappling tournaments and kickboxing competitions. And I knew by the time I was like 12, 13 that I really wanted to try doing this as a professional. So I just So I took as many like kickboxing matches and Muay Thai matches as I could until I could do MMA once I turned 18. And I had just like I won the EBI when I was 18 as well. So then I was having a hard time getting amateur fights. I only had one.
Yeah.
I went pro right after that, and yeah.
And you mentioned starting jiu-jitsu at 7. How did that start? Is that kind of your parents were looking for that martial arts outlet? Like, you have a kid with a lot of energy. Is that something that you were drawn to? How did that get started exactly?
Well, actually, my parents wanted my brother to go into martial arts first to learn how to defend himself, and I was like doing dancing at the time. I quit that because I wasn't really into it. And I went to go watch my brother train, and I was offered a class, and my parents were totally behind too. They wanted me to know how to defend myself as well. And once I started training, I was totally hooked.
And you mentioned learning how to defend yourself. There are a lot of people that have different takes on it. Like the people that do karate, they learn choreographed stuff, but they might not be able to defend yourself. From what you were doing at a young age, did you feel like if you'd gotten ever in an altercation, a street fight, like you could legitimately defend yourself?
Yes, because like I started doing jitsu and kickboxing, so I never really did like straight karate or anything that was just forms. I was pretty much like grappling live and sparring live from the first like month of training. So I always was confident in my ability to defend myself from a young age.
And so at what point mentally did the flip kind of switch that, this was a career path that you wanted to look into and this was something you wanted to really start doing seriously?
Like when I was about 12, 13, I was competing in like grappling competitions and stuff, and there weren't any like girls my own age, so I would sometimes throw into the women's divisions, and I would do pretty well. Sometimes I'd win them, sometimes I get beat, but most of the time I was doing really well, and they were women that were much older than me, and I realized how good I was, and how much I enjoyed it, and how much I enjoyed training, and that was like it was before UFC had. I think UFC probably had women right about that time. It was probably right around when Ronda Rousey was coming up. So I saw that, and I was like, I could do that too. Like, I think that'd be awesome. So that was probably around the time that I decided I wanted to do this.
You mentioned Ronda Rousey and people, they have her take on how important she is to women's MMA and stuff like that. Is it a point for you to say that she was important for you as you came up because this was a person that, if she could do it, it's an opening for us? Or how was that sort of for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like she opened up a lot of doors for women's MMA. There was obviously other women who were pioneers of the sport as well,
Right.
but she was like one of the first superstars that made it really popular. So I think she was important for me, but also for anyone that wanted to do the sport as a female fighter. Yeah.
And so what was your parents' reaction and your bigger family when they realized that, now it's no longer just a hobby. It's no longer I want to train, I want to defend myself. Now it's like I want to go out there and kick some ass and, really take this to another level.
My whole family loves it. They support me so much. They all go crazy over my fights. I mean, of course, it's nerve-wracking for them, but they're really proud of me and they support me so much, and I'm really grateful for that. They push me a lot, and they're a big motivation for me.
And you're currently 5-1 in your career. It seems like things are going pretty well. I mean, even the one loss you do have, it's a split decision. I mean, what's been the key for you to have such a good start to your career?
Well, I just always try to train smart and hard, and I stay very focused. I spend most of my time in the gym. I very rarely do pretty much anything else besides what I'm supposed to be doing as a professional athlete. I feel like that contributes a lot to my success.
And are you currently full-time in MMA, or do you have a job on the side?
Right now, I'm part-time in college. I go to Montclair State University, so
Okay.
I just train and go to school.
And so how is that for your schedule? I assume you have to pick your classes according to when you train, or maybe the other way around?
Yeah, I put training as my priority. Like I was a full-time student, but now I'm part-time. I'm going to try to make up some credits in the summer, but training is definitely my priority right now. I'm going to school because my parents really want me to go to school, and and they don't ask me for much, and they support me so much in my fighting that I feel like I owe it to them. And honestly, I'm pretty good at school. I'm not that dumb. I get through it pretty quickly. So I don't mind doing it. And it's nice to have something outside of just fighting all the time to be able to go and feel like a normal person. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
And so I assume you might not be able to spend a lot of time with the people in your classes, but are they aware of what you do? Like, are they aware that you're probably someone that could kick everybody's ass in the class?
Sometimes if we have to introduce ourselves, I'll talk about it. And some people know. It's a pretty big school because it's a big state school. There's about like 20
Right.
students. But there's only a decent chunk of people that know.
Do you ever have people that challenge you? I know like a lot of fighters when they go out to like bars or stuff, they have people mean mug them, people that feel this need to challenge. Do you sort of have that at school at all?
No, I've never had that yet. Probably being a female is probably less likely.
Right.
Yeah, but no, I haven't had any of that yet.
And so long term, what's your goal for your career? Like what's your ceiling? Is it, to be UFC champion? Is it just to be champion in a big organization? What's your goal really long term for your career?
No, my goal before this is all done, I want to be a UFC champion and defend that belt a few times. That's definitely my ultimate goal in my career.
All right, now at this point, coming off this big win, what's next for you at this point? What do you need to do to capitalize on this and sort of keep your name going and keep your brand growing?
Yeah, I mean, we're still looking for our next fight. I know Invicta has a card in March, but that's already filled. So either the next Invicta card or it might be another a little more local promotion. But I just want to get another fight in as soon as I can and put on an impressive performance and get another finish on my record.
All right, with that in mind, I have one last one for you, kind of a two-part question. When do you think we'll see you again? And if you're allowed to choose your opponent, who would you want next?
I hope to be in the cage as soon as possible. As far as opponents, I'm not really sure. I mean, I would love to get a bigger name opponent in Invicta if possible. But there's so many girls, so whoever Shannon wants me to fight, I'd fight.
All right, well, we will look forward to seeing what's next for you. Thanks so much for the time. I really appreciate it. Congratulations on the victory and good luck with the future.
Thank you.